The Kevin and Bean Show.
KROQ. What's going on with Lisa under the console? Gerard Way is here from my cabin. Lisa's under the console. I thought I only ever heard about that in movies. I didn't know that happened in real life.
I'm a huge fan.
Apparently. Hey, Gerard.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you
We're
guys?
just thanking Gerard for coming in.
Thank you.
We don't usually get the rock stars coming in the 7 o'clock hour because their schedules are the exact opposite of this.
Well, he doesn't have his rock star hat on today. He's got his comic book hat on today, and those people are always up. So, shall we play the big intro for Gerard and then properly introduce him? You want to do that? Or did we forget we had a big intro?
I believe we forgot we had a big intro.
Well, no, Mike was under the console with me.
Do we want to take two? Should we play the Red Hot Chili Peppers again and come back out of it?
No.
Not the whole thing. We can't find the intro. I'm sorry. Omar made it, but we can't find it.
Gerard is here, of course, from the band My Chemical Romance, which is, are you in a break right now?
Yeah, we're in our first real break, which is, I think we're 7 years old now, which is, and we've toured that long too. So now we finished up at MSG, and that was it. We're like, we got to take a long break. So
good for you.
Thanks.
I was reading an article where you were talking about just being so tired of being on the road that usually what you do is just start drawing. Just get out your books. And how many books of that kind of sketching do you have?
Oh God, seriously, I have at least like 27 sketchbooks at home.
Dude.
Just I saved them all since I've been in art school, and I had a bunch before that too. So I just have stacks of.
Do you constantly run into the problem of people who don't know your background in art school and drawing comics and think that this is just another story of Scarlett Johansson trying to sing, one of those deals where you're
But you know
stepping
what? You know what's cool about that? She's doing like a Tom Waits cover album, right?
Yeah, did you hear it?
That's cred. I haven't
did you
heard
hear
it though.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty
Reserve
cool.
judgment.
She's better as a fan than she is as a tribute artist.
I'm just saying.
I do run into that, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I think Kevin asked a good question. Is there a lot of people who think, well, here's just another star, like, Bruce Willis is an actor, so he thinks he can sing, and they just think that you're dabbling in this. But, I mean, this has been kind of a twin love of yours your whole life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a total background in it. It's actually technically my degree, I mean, it's just a Bachelor of Fine Arts, but my major was cartooning, so I have actually a degree in comics.
That is not a major.
I know.
That is such a great major.
I know. It's actually,
what are you taking? Cartooning?
Cartooning. That was my major. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I run into it, everybody thought it was going to be kind of some sort of vanity project. The cool thing was we knew it wasn't, so we were just waiting for it to come out.
Well, that was your first love, right?
Yeah, that was the first thing.
You would rather have been a cartoonist than a rock star or a singer or a band,
The funny
right?
thing is, the story goes, I was in a band first, and I thought I was going to be in a band and tour the world, and they kicked me out of the band because I couldn't play Sweet Home Alabama on guitar.
Really? That was the that was the deal breaker?
Swear to God. So then I did comics that was my fallback, was comics.
Ah, I didn't know that. And you worked at DC for?
Yeah, I was an intern there for over a year, and it was pretty amazing. I got photocopy real artwork and stuff, so it was,
that must have been super exciting. How did that come to an end?
I graduated.
They kicked you out as well?
Yeah, I graduated. I wanted to work in the mailroom, and they said they didn't want anybody with aspirations of working in comics to work in the mail. Yeah, which I kind of get, I guess.
I guess, but yeah, but
I was like, wait, you don't want anybody that wants to work in comics working in comics? But it was cool though. I'm still friends with everybody there, and
Who did you love? Who were your comic book heroes when you were young?
When I was young, I loved Chris Claremont's X-Men, Mark Silvestri. They did this. That was my first superhero book, and I liked the X-Men better than anybody else because they were dirty and ugly, and they didn't get any of the credit because they were invisible to machines and cameras, and that was cool. Then I got into stuff like Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol and Garth Ennis's Preacher. And
I do not recognize these words. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm digging a little deep.
I apologize.
A lot of Vertigo books. I was really into Neil Gaiman, Sandman, and stuff like that.
What do you think about all of the movies? This seems to be, the last 2 years seem to just be one superhero movie after another, comic book movie after another. What do you like? Did you see Hellboy, for example, this weekend?
I haven't, actually. Actually, I was supposed to go to the premiere, and Dark Horse is the company that puts out the Umbrella Academy, and they're amazing. They put out Hellboy, and Hellboy movie. And I got stuck in traffic. I just moved to L.A., so now I'm getting used to that. It's like...
Excellent.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing the movie, you were sitting in traffic.
Sitting in traffic.
Excellent.
I had to turn around. I haven't seen it yet.
That sucks.
Did you see either Iron Man or Hulk?
I have not seen either of those.
Well, you are not a very big comic book fan.
That's what it is. I generally don't go. I don't go to see comic book movies.
Because you've been burned, or you didn't like some of them? Or just...
I don't know. No, because I like Spider-Man. I went and saw that when it came out.
Not the emo Spider-Man, though.
I heard about that. See, I haven't even seen that.
Yeah,
I don't
go
to the movies.
That's okay.
I heard there's an emo Spider-Man.
There is. There is. He's dancing. I don't know. I don't understand that whole last one, but...
If you were in Fallout Boy, you could go to that one. Otherwise, no.
Otherwise, no. The haircut.
He does. So you moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Is that something you ever expected? I mean, you always seemed like you were pretty proud of New Jersey and loved living in New Jersey. Did you ever? I mean, was your plan all along to move, or are you even surprised that you're now living in California?
Well, the whole point of starting the band was to get out of, not necessarily New Jersey, but get out of that situation, you know, like bad jobs, pushing carts, gas stations, stuff like that, parking lots, standing in parking lots, smoking cigarettes, get out of that whole thing. So
you wanted to get out of smoking cigarettes in parking lots?
Yeah.
Really?
But you know what's funny?
That sounds good.
I started a band, and now I stand in parking lots and smoke cigarettes.
Well, that is true.
You know,
that is true. That's what you do
all day.
So why did you decide to move here? Was it the...
It's so inspiring. I love it out here. Every record we've made has been in L.A. And I guess I equate that with creating things. And I wake up every day to create something. Whereas back in Jersey, I was living close to New York City recently, and I would just wake up, it was gray, and just didn't do anything for me. The city's just too much of a monster, New York. It's great, but it's too big for me.
Well, wait till you sit in soul-crushing traffic for a while.
It's definitely soul-crushing.
That will squeeze the life right out of you, my friend.
Definitely
soul-crushing. Your next album will be about going on a killing rampage. There's no question about that.
I've noticed that I've taken on some of the personality traits of driving here, and like the cursing and asking questions that have no answer.
Yep, road rage is what we call it, and you're going to be in jail soon, just so you know.
What about the other guys in the band? Are they still living back east, and is that going to create friction, or are they moving all over the place too?
No, they still all live in Jersey. They all love Jersey so much, though. Mikey's thinking about actually coming out here, though, and because me and him have always loved it a lot. And Bob, of course, lives in Chicago. But it's not really a friction thing, because we were doing the band so much, it got to the point where we would have off maybe for like 3 weeks or a month that we wouldn't even rehearse. It's so ingrained in us, you know, like we just come do it. And we make all our records here, so eventually we all have to come back here.
How long of a break are you taking from the band? Because I got to imagine I mean, I know you love the guys you play with, but you got to be sick of that whole... not the music part of it, but the traveling and
that's what it is. You know, you love writing music too, but these days you don't get to do that so often, and you're touring on the music you put out, and we don't want to do that so much anymore. Is actually make more records. We'd rather make records quicker, tour on them less, and just make more records. You know, make more songs. That's what a band does. They write songs to play live. And
what's the difference between writing a song and authoring a comic book? What's the main difference there? They both are super creative, it seems like.
They are.
I couldn't do either, I know that.
It's weird. They both have their own structures. Like, a comic is 22 pages, and you only have a certain amount of room on the page, and within those panels, you only have a certain amount of room to put bubbles. But a song, generally, you're kind of limited too, like by things like rhyming, so they each have their own limitations. They are very similar, though. I find it...
it's kind of like... both are kind of like storytelling, right?
They are. Especially for me. Like, I've always wanted to be a storyteller. I was inspired by guys like Nick Cave or Tom Waits, so those guys were storytellers. And to me, in punk rock, like, nobody was telling stories, and I wanted to do that. So it's very natural. Like, a lot of the things that I was doing in Umbrella Academy before we had made Black Parade, like, for example, the reason that the record ended up being called Black Parade is because the original name of the villains in Umbrella Academy was the Black Orchestra. I just like the ring of it. So
why do they have to be black?
It's like it was more about the.
I'm just kidding.
Gerard Way is here.
Jokes going around a love line. It's very uncomfortable.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Gerard Way is here. We're going to talk some more with him about his Dark Horse comic collection called the Umbrella Academy. In fact, we'll get him to explain what's going on in the Umbrella Academy, because it is a bizarre and fascinating story. Plus, we'll talk about Gerard's upcoming appearance at the Comic-Con down in San Diego, which is right around the corner. That and more after this on the World